Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about Distilled, a spirited strategy game.
This game, you guys, is all about ghosts.
What? No.
Yes, it's spirited.
No, it's alcohol, Ryan. Like spirits.
Oh, those kinds of spirits. Got it. I'm on board now. All right, continue.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is designed by Dave Beck. The artwork is by Eric Evanson. And it is published by Paverson Games.
All right, you guys. In this game, what you are doing is you are taking on the role of a distillery. You are trying to make a variety of different spirits, these different alcoholic beverages, and you are trying to age some of them. You're going to put them in different kinds of barrels. You require different kinds of ingredients as well. All right, there's going to be a little bit of a deck building, a little bit of a push your luck even actually in this game. Trying to make the best beverages, selling them for the most amount of money. All right, let's show you a quick overview of how to play. Alright, here is the main player board setup for Distilled. Over here we have our score tracker. We also have all of our different labels that we're going to be acquiring as we kind of create our beverages. Those labels we're going to choose at the beginning of the game based off of one of these flights. There are a whole bunch of different flights that we can choose from. We're going to be putting those onto our main player board, and I'll show you that in a minute. But there's just a whole bunch of different options, a lot of different ways to set up and play this game. All right, over here we have all of our different common ingredients. Let's go over those first. Every alcohol needs to have some yeast, some water, and alcohol, as well as some kind of a sugar as well. We have 3 different kinds of sugar. We have the grains, we have mixed plants, we also have fruits over here. And of course you need something to put it all in. We've got barrels, we've got wooden barrels, we've got clay barrels. We also start the game with a metal barrel. Again, I'll show you that in a little bit as well. Then we have all these different various premium items. So over here we have premium items along the bottom. These are kind of upgrades to your normal clay and your normal wood barrels, along with different bottles. There's kind of a set collection piece to this game with the bottles. The bottles come from different regions of the world, and the more bottles you collect from these various regions, the more points you're going to get. If you collect a variety of bottles, that's fantastic, but also the more you get of a specific type, the better that is as well. Over here we have upgraded versions of the ingredients. So these are kind of our basic market items. You're only allowed to buy 2 of those per turn. But these are going to be upgraded versions of them, and those you can buy as many as you can afford. So for instance, we have juniper berries, which is an upgraded version of our fruit sugars. Then we've got some corn, which again is an upgraded version of our grain sugars. We've also got some upgraded water and some sorghum. Every time you're going to see that, there's going to be a different selection of items out there that are going to be upgrades of the basic market ingredients. Lastly, along the top there, we have our different upgrades that we can give to our distillery. And maybe they are going to be specialists that we can hire to make our distillery the best it can be, or maybe they're equipment upgrades so that we can have kind of increased abilities in our distillery. This game has a little bit of a deck building element to it. Basically, the more sugars that you add to your beverage, the more alcohol cards you're going to be able to add to it. And the more alcohol you add to it, the more money you're going to be able to make at the end of it all. Also, some of our beverages need to be aged in barrels, and we're going to add flavors. Every time it ages for a year, we're going to add more flavors to it. Whenever you make that particular beverage, the more it's been aged, the more flavors it's going to have, and the more points it's going to be worth. Also, there's going to be kind of a variety of different awards that you can win. The more players that are playing, the more awards are out there. But they can be all kinds of different things. The ones I randomly pulled out say, if you collect 3 spirit labels from 3 different regions, that's going to be worth some points. Or maybe you sell a spirit that has 5 or more sugar cards in it. That would take a lot of cards to add into it. It'll take a while to buy all that, but you can get a lot of points that way as well, and you'd be able to win that particular award. Every time you play, there are going to be different awards. Alright, here's our individual player boards. Remember we talked about our different flights. So what we're going to do is we're going to take whatever flight we chose, we're going to put it into our board, and we're all going to have the same one in the board so we have the opportunity to work on the same drinks. The one exception to that is we're all going to be different characters as well. So there's a large deck of characters, and again, based off whatever flight we're playing with, there's going to be regions of the world we're going to be using. We're going to choose a character, and that character is also going to come with its own special recipe and a special ingredient that is used in that recipe. So we're going to put that character right over here. And the special recipe that goes along with it, it's locked into the bottom of our flight pad. That's going to be a secret recipe that only we have access to, and we're going to be working on that throughout the game. There's a special ingredient that goes along with it as well. Alright, so we talked about the kind of the group goals that you can go for. You're also going to have individual goals for your distillery. At the beginning of the game, you're going to be dealt 3 of them. You get a chance to look over those, kind of try to aim for some of those. At the end of the 3rd round, what you're going to do is you're going to figure out which one of those you're most likely to get, and you're going to discard whichever one you're least likely to get, keeping back the other 2. We are playing a total of 7 rounds. We do have some starting items. I mentioned that we have a metal barrel to start off with. We also have a glass, just a kind of a plain glass bottle. Nothing special about it, not one worth collecting. But those are both reusable as well. All right, so over here we have all of our different recipes that we can work with. You're always going to have access to moonshine and vodka. Those are typically kind of your starting ones to get you a little bit of money going. Not a lot of points, but at least to kind of get you started. And then as you go on, you can kind of unlock these different recipes, and it's going to tell you what it takes to build them. Usually various kinds of sugars, and they might use certain requirements for the barrels, and they need to be aged possibly. All right, when it's finally time to make your recipes, what you're going to do is you need to have at least one yeast, you need to have at least one water, and you have at least one sugar. We were able to buy 2 of these grains, so we're going to put them in here. And for every sugar that you use, you're going to add an alcohol card as well. So let's add those to the mix, then we're going to shuffle it all up together. After unshuffling, what we're going to do is we're going to take the top card and the bottom card, and we're going to remove them. All right, so we are going to remove our yeast, and we are going to remove our water. So what's left is our actual beverage. All right, so across the top here, that's how much money we made. We've made $2 plus whatever recipe we choose to make. In this case, looks like we're probably going to end up making vodka. So we're going to get an additional coin for that as well. Sometimes there might be victory points as well on the bottom. Not in this case. But yeah, so we're going to put that into a barrel, and we're going to get points for that. There's also $1 on the barrel, and also we have in a glass bottle, that's another $1 as well. So we're going to get a total of $5 for all the things combined. Any cards that were discarded at the beginning, they're going to go into our pantry. We're going to get a chance to use them again later. Some of these beverages require quite a lot of sugar. So for instance, this one here, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, Pisco. It needs 3 of the fruit sugars. Now, because of the fact that you're going to lose the top card and the bottom card of your shuffled beverage, you don't know what they're going to be. So if you're trying to really, really make that this round, you might want to add in a 4th or maybe even a 5th of those fruit sugars just in case you end up discarding some. And that we can guarantee you make your beverage. Or, maybe you want to risk it and just kind of go just with the bare minimum, in which case the worst thing that could happen is you could build maybe some moonshine or some vodka. We talked earlier about the upgrades that you can buy. The upgrades are going to go along this top row over here. And then also we have our warehouse. You can be aging beverages as well. Those are usually going to be in your wood or your clay barrels. You can only be aging 2 things at a time. But remember, you're going to be able to add those flavor cards. And every time you add a flavor card, there's a little chart that says here, at the end of actually when you go to sell that beverage, you're going to get a maximum of 15 points extra if you have 5 flavors in it. So maybe you want to get started on that early. At the end of the 7th round, everyone's going to add up all their points. You've been kind of tracking a lot of your points as they go along. But any last minute beverages that you're making, you're going to add those points to your total. You're going to get some extra points for any of your distillery goals that you finished. And whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins.
One of the things that I think is great about this game is that you can always do something. So let's say you decided to risk it, and when you had a discard, you discarded things that you needed. It's fine. You can still create probably the vodka or the moonshine. So there's you can almost always do something, so you never feel like your turn is wasted, and I really like that. Now there is a possibility, because the tokens are limited, that towards the end of the game you might do that, and you're just kind of out of luck. That is possible, but it's not something that we came across yet. But I just like that I never felt like my turn was completely wasted, that even if I couldn't do what I wanted to do, I was able to do something.
I like how in this game there's kind of a lot of ways that you can score points. Obviously, the main one is by making beverages. Yeah. But also you can choose to whether or not you want to age the beverage and how long do you want to age it for. How many of those flavor cards are you willing to wait for, but wait for that payout as well. There's a lot of points there. Or maybe you want to go for the quick short beverages. Maybe just make a whole bunch of quick ones and just keep the money coming, so that way you're always flexible, always able to do what you need to do. Or perhaps you want to go for a lot of those bottles and get bottles from a lot of different regions, or maybe bottles from just one different region, and just get a whole bunch of them. All those strategies are viable. There are all different ways that you can get points. I liked how you never felt like there wasn't something you could do. There's always something you can do to progress your points game.
Yeah. And the game was pretty risky, and the money was tight. It wasn't like, some games you get money and you just keep on going with it, but you spent all of it, and so much so that there was a thing in the game to where if you ran out of money, you could actually go down in points to get money. That was used, guys. That was used, because that's how tight the money is, which is why sometimes you have to make a beverage, even if you have to make a spirit, even if you don't necessarily the odds are against you of pulling that out. It can get kind of risky sometimes. I mean, you can try your odds in getting the tokens and trying to get the recipes for things that other people don't have, so that way you're more likely to get that token and it's not going to run out. But gosh, it was just super tight, and you're just waiting for other people to buy cards so the card you want could come out. But it was a lot of fun.
And that restriction of only being able to buy 2 cards from the basic ingredients.
Yes.
I hated it at first, and then I was like, I like
Yes.
this. I like that
Yeah.
restriction.
Yeah.
All right, the characters, the basically distillery owners that you get to become. I think that they had a wide variety of characters. I like how they all give you some kind of small special ability throughout the game, or maybe a one-time benefit up front. But then also you had a special recipe that was tied along with that character.
Yeah.
That only you were the only person that knew how to make that particular recipe. And they all had a special ingredient that made that recipe special, and you got that ingredient. You couldn't unlock it right away, so it couldn't necessarily be like maybe the first beverage that you made.
Yeah.
But I like how you were the only one that could make that, and it's usually pretty lucrative to make that one. If I'm, a certain character and I have a special beverage, I'm almost always going to go for that at some point during the game. So I love having those secret kind of, not secret, but like your specified individual abilities.
So overall, I really liked this game. It was so much fun. And of course, the game trays make it super easy to get out and get into. But I just had so much fun with this game. It was really easy to get into once you play 1 or 2 rounds and you understand how the system works. And then it was a game that even though it took, not that it was long, but even though it wasn't one of those quick, fast games, I wanted to play it again when we were done. I wasn't ready to set it aside because it was that much fun and I wanted to try a different strategy. I want to do this. I just felt like there was so much in this game to explore and it was just a blast to play.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever get through all those different flights.
Yeah,
and some of the variety,
yes,
see all the different characters in every single version. There's just so much content here. Yeah, I like this game so much because we are dry people, right? We don't drink alcoholic beverages. We do drink things like water. If you've heard of water,
And sparkling grape juice.
We did pop out a bubbly last night, and by bubbly we mean sparkling grape juice. But this was not about that. The theming was about producing, and it was about making the alcohol and the kind of the science that goes behind it. It's a little bit abstracted, but from what I understand, they actually did a very good job of explaining how the aged flavors happen and how what barrels matter and why all the different alcohol versus sugars and you need the water and the yeast and all that stuff. It all kind of made sense scientifically, which was fascinating to me. I really liked that. It was almost like going through a miniature tour of a distillery while playing this super fun game. There's a lot going on here. This is not an entry-level game by any means. But at the same time, once you get going, everything is very clear. It makes sense. Yeah. This is one that's stayed on the shelf for a long time, you guys. We had a great time with this one.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, consider leaving us a tip. There's a link down below on how to do that. Until then, don't forget to subscribe and follow us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.